India is not good at gaming. It's not an unknown fact or anything, but we just aren't as good, are we? Even if India is one of the biggest mobile market for gaming, the Indian team to go to the PUBG Mobile Global Championship 2021 Grand Finals managed to come 13th. Yeah, they seriously came 13th. I was watching a video by Mohak Mangal about the reality of different income groups in India. And the important question in that video was, how much of India do you think is middle class? The answer will definitely shock a lot of you. I even asked the questions to my friends, and generally I got the answer out to be around 50 to 70%, which is a huge chunk of the population, might I add. Roughly translating to 700 to 900 million people. Now, for the actual reveal, the actual middle class of India is 2%. Yep, you heard correctly, it's 2%. This article by Pew Research Center states that prosperity was concentrated in certain regions, though there was growth in the middle income from 2001 to 2011. It was mainly concentrated in regions like China and South America. The middle class barely grew in India. But you might have a question that every time you see the news or read print media, you see that there are huge data thrown around, suggesting that India is a majority middle income country. But the data used is quite selective. One of the most commonly used data that I found was that the economists have used an income threshold that defines middle class people as those living between $2 and $10 per day per person. The lower middle living on 2 to 4 and the upper middle living to 6 to 10, which by the way is termed as low income group by international standards. I could go on about this for a long time, but I think you get the point. Also, before we move on, I did try to find the actual paper or PDF document or whatever which is used by so many of these news companies and was met with this. I don't know how I feel about data which I can't even cross-check. So maybe a huge chunk of India is poor, but the other small chunk is also quite huge by international standards. So for that to justify why we aren't good, even if we have a small chunk which is actually a huge amount of people, I would like to present to you the psychological problems of India. Look at this graph. It shows that just depression is about almost 6 crore cases in India. And if you think that there are numerous other countries with higher percentage, you need to realize that in India, nobody believes in mental illness. If I go down the road and ask a person if he thinks that depression, the illness, is real, there's a higher chance of the dude being depressed himself and not knowing it than him accepting the fact that it is real. Comparing this to more developed countries where the stigma around mental illness doesn't exist, there are bound to be more cases where people are actually getting treatment for it. Now, we can just join the 2 points. Imagine you're a laborer working 12 hours a day to earn $2. Would you be more worried about depression or anxiety or letting your kid play the new esports Valorant mobile game, PUBG Mobile? Would you be more worried about that, or would you be more worried about having food on the table? Now finally, you all must be wondering, how does this all tie into gaming? Well, go right now and ask your parents that you want to pursue a sport. Not even gaming, just ask if you want to pursue a sport and read their reaction. I bet 95% of you guys know the answer already and didn't even leave your seat. I think that's pretty much the main issue here. In esports, particularly, talent needs to be nurtured from an extremely young age. The average age of an esports athlete is like around 20 years. And if you haven't even started playing the game until you're 18, what's the point? You will never be good at it. There will always be someone who's better than you at a global scale. Also, I think it's pretty much the main issue is also having money. In Indian families, even if you have money, it does not mean that you can buy an RTX 3090. Now, to the other 5% of parents who actually do allow, let's take the number to be X. How many do you think are actually good or decent enough to even compete? Let's take 50% of that. Now, take people who are good but still don't get picked up because there are only 4 good orgs in this entire region and forever get stuck in a random tier 2 team where his or her talent never gets utilized. Now, I think you see the clear picture. I would just like to say that next time you shout or send an angry DM to the player who missed that one op shot, remember all the stuff he's gone through and still is going through, by the way, Shilpa Auntie, and stopping with the sly comments during your cousin's birthday party.